Have you ever met someone everyone hated within minutes? Because I once worked with a guy who somehow managed to piss off almost everyone on his very first shift. This was my first job, working the graveyard shift at Target while the entire store was being remodeled. One night I was clocking in when I noticed a new guy standing in the doorway of the break room. He was waving his hand around in front of him over and over, obviously trying to get the motion sensor to turn the light on. I stood there watching him for a few seconds, completely confused. Eventually he gave up, muttered something about the light not working, and walked away. The funny part? The light worked perfectly. He just wasn't standing far enough inside the room for the sensor to detect him. And that was my first introduction to Derek. He was probably in his mid to late 20s, skinny with short, spiky black hair, piercings, and the kind of outfit that made him look like he belonged in a Portland coffee shop. But his appearance wasn't the problem. It was his personality. Almost immediately, he started getting on everyone's nerves. At one point, I was coming back from the backstock area when I saw Derek talking to another coworker. I'll call Gary. They were talking about tattoos, and Gary was actually being pretty friendly. He was asking Derek about his tattoos and seemed genuinely interested. Then Derek looked at one of Gary's tattoo and basically insulted it. Gary's entire attitude changed. He went from being friendly to looking like he couldn't stand this guy, and Derek just walked away like nothing happened. A few minutes later, he was talking to two other coworkers. He asked which one of them was Chrissy and which one was Christy. They answered him, and Derek made some degrading joke about how it didn't matter anyway. Both of them looked visibly offended. At this point, I was honestly impressed. I'd never seen someone make this many enemies this quickly, and we hadn't even been working with him for a full shift. For the rest of the night, I didn't see much of him. The last time I did, he was supposed to be moving some glassware, but instead he was messing around with it. Then I called in the next night. When I came back to work, Derek was gone. Apparently, according to my coworker Larry, Derek had managed to receive so many separate complaints within about 24 hours that our supervisor finally fired him. And apparently, Derek completely lost it. He started cussing everyone out, stormed out of the building, and thankfully, we never saw him again. I was only 18 at the time, and honestly, I still think about how ridiculous that whole situation was.